What if I told you that most men, no matter how much effort they put in, are unknowingly sabotaging their chances with women? It's not about looks, charm, or money. It's about the things you're doing wrong and the ones you're ignoring. In fact, many of the mistakes men make are the reason they keep striking out, even when they think they're doing everything right. If you've ever wondered why you're not getting the results you want with women, I'm about to share with you the truth. The truth that's been hidden in plain sight all along. Stick with me, because this could be the most important lesson of your life. Now, here's the thing. Attraction is way more than just surface-level actions. There's a hidden psychological landscape beneath every interaction, and if you don't understand it, you'll keep hitting walls. Whether you're looking for love, trying to keep the spark alive, or just trying to understand what women really want, this video is for you. I'm about to break down the top things men should never do with women. Behaviors that are not only damaging, but also completely counterproductive. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why these mistakes happen, but also how to avoid them like the plague. No fluff, no filler, just the truth. Let's dive in. Point 1. Emotional instability, the killer of attraction. One of the biggest mistakes men make when dealing with women is emotional instability. Men often think that showing emotions is a sign of vulnerability or weakness. But let me tell you this. Women don't mind vulnerability. They mind instability. If you're constantly swinging between highs and lows, not only will it confuse her, but it will also make her feel uneasy. Imagine this. You're on a date, and at first everything seems perfect. The conversation flows. There's laughter, there's a connection. But then something small happens. Maybe a waiter gets the order wrong, or you don't get a text back in 5 minutes, and suddenly your mood flips. You become irritable, short-tempered, or withdrawn. That instability, no matter how small, creates tension in the air. Women pick up on that. They feel it. And it makes them question, is this someone I can rely on? Will he be emotionally stable if things get tough? Emotional security is something women crave. And it's not just about being calm during the good times. It's about being able to handle adversity with grace. When things get difficult, whether in a relationship or in life, your ability to maintain control, to stay composed, will set you apart. Women want a partner who can weather the storm, someone who won't collapse under pressure. Think about it. When life throws curveballs, do you want to be the man who crumbles, or the one who handles the chaos with confidence? Women need someone who stays grounded, someone they can lean on when everything around them feels out of control. If you're emotionally unstable, even if you're a good guy, you're unknowingly signaling to her that you're not ready to be that steady force in her life. Here's what you can do. You need to work on emotional regulation. This isn't about suppressing your feelings, it's about learning how to manage them. Start by taking a step back before reacting. Take a deep breath and give yourself a moment to think. It's okay to feel frustrated, upset, or angry, but the key is how you deal with those emotions. Start practicing mindfulness and meditation. These practices help you create space between stimulus and response, allowing you to make better choices. It's about cultivating an emotional center that is unwavering no matter the situation. When you do this, women will notice. They will see you as someone who is in control of himself, and that's incredibly attractive. Remember, being emotionally steady doesn't mean you're perfect or that you never feel upset. It means that when you do feel those emotions, you can control them and still make wise decisions. This is the foundation of emotional certainty, and it's what women are looking for in a man. Point 2. The nice guy syndrome. How trying too hard backfires. We've all heard it, right? Nice guys finish last. But why? What does that even mean? The truth is that women don't want to be with someone who is overly eager to please. It's not because they don't appreciate kindness. It's because kindness, when done with the intention to gain approval, comes off as inauthentic. Think about the nice guy who is constantly doing favors, going out of his way to make everything perfect, or seeking validation through every action. It feels like there's always an agenda behind the kindness. Instead of being a genuine connection, it feels transactional. You give, but you don't receive. Women can sense when someone is trying too hard. It's not about being nice or generous. It's about the underlying need for approval. When you operate from this place, you lose your power. The moment you start seeking validation, you lose respect. Why? Because deep down you become predictable. There's no mystery, no intrigue. You're not challenging her, and women crave challenge. What's attractive to women is genuine confidence, not the need for external validation. When you're constantly trying to win her approval, you become emotionally dependent, and that dependency, it's a huge turnoff. Women want to be with someone who has a strong sense of self, someone who doesn't need to be constantly validated to feel secure. Think about the men you respect. Do they constantly seek approval from others? Or do they stand firm in their own beliefs and values? Women want a partner who stands on his own 2 feet and doesn't need external affirmation to feel good about himself. This is why the nice guy syndrome doesn't work. So, how do you fix this? Stop seeking approval. Start being authentic in your interactions. Show kindness, but don't do it with the agenda of gaining approval. Do it because you genuinely care. Women are drawn to men who are comfortable in their own skin, who don't need constant reassurance, and who can stand alone without crumbling. When you cultivate this kind of independence, you'll become magnetic. Don't be afraid to set boundaries, express your needs, and make decisions based on your own values, not to please someone else. This isn't about being rude or selfish. It's about finding that balance of kindness and self-respect. When you do this, you'll find that women will respect you more and become more attracted to the authentic version of you, not the version that's seeking constant validation. Point 3. Over-communicating. Why less is more. We've all been there, texting and calling constantly, checking in, sending multiple messages just to keep the conversation going. But here's the harsh truth. Over-communicating is one of the biggest red flags for women. Why? Because it gives off an air of desperation. When you constantly feel the need to reach out, to explain yourself, to say more than what's necessary, you start to appear insecure. Think about it this way. When you have a conversation with someone, what feels more natural? A back-and-forth exchange where both parties contribute to the flow of the conversation, or a situation where one person is talking at the other, almost forcing interaction? Over-communicating can feel like you're trying too hard to fill in gaps or keep the connection alive when, in reality, it can push the other person away. The issue with over-communicating is that it signals a lack of emotional control. Women want a partner who can be independent, someone who isn't glued to their phone every minute of the day, desperate for attention. Over-communication often stems from insecurity or the fear of rejection. When you fear being ignored, you feel the need to overcompensate by talking more, sending more messages, and being more available than necessary. But instead of making you more appealing, it pushes women away because it shows you lack the self-control and confidence to give space. Consider this. Women, especially in the early stages of a relationship, need space to process their feelings. If you constantly bombard them with texts and calls, you're suffocating that natural space. And trust me, that space is critical for attraction. When you give her room to miss you, she'll start to crave your presence. But when you overdo it, it becomes overwhelming and unattractive. The key here is to practice restraint. Instead of constantly reaching out, focus on quality over quantity. It's about creating anticipation, not making her feel like she's being cornered by your constant presence. When you do communicate, make sure it's purposeful, meaningful, and not just for the sake of it. Start limiting the frequency of your messages. Give her space to breathe. Trust me, this works wonders. Women are attracted to men who have their own lives, who don't need to rely on constant communication to feel validated. If you can't resist texting every 5 minutes, it's time to step back and focus on your own personal growth. Keep your confidence high and your desire for validation low. This will make you far more interesting and much more appealing. Point 4. Over-promising. The danger of false expectations. We all love to impress, and sometimes in our desire to appear as the perfect partner, we over-promisize. Whether it's an extravagant date, a future we haven't fully planned for, or claiming we can be everything to her, over-promising creates unrealistic expectations. Women want to believe in you, but they also need to trust that what you say is grounded in reality. When you promise something you can't deliver, it creates a gap between expectation and reality. This gap leads to disappointment, and, more often than not, it leaves her questioning your reliability. When the promises start falling short, the attraction begins to wane. Trust is everything in a relationship. Without trust, there is no attraction. If you promise the world and fail to deliver, you're not just disappointing her, you're breaking the bond of trust. It may seem harmless at first, but the little unfulfilled promises pile up, and suddenly she sees you as someone who says what sounds good but doesn't follow through. Think about it. How does it feel when someone constantly promises you things they don't deliver on? It makes you question their integrity. It chips away at the respect you have for them. Women feel the same way. If they can't rely on you to keep your word, they'll start to doubt everything else you say. Instead of over-promising, focus on under-promising and over-delivering. Be upfront about what you can offer and then deliver it with sincerity and effort. Women appreciate honesty over grand gestures that lack substance. Show her through your actions, not just your words. This doesn't mean you can't dream big together or plan exciting things for the future. It just means that your promises should be realistic and achievable. Setting realistic expectations not only makes you more trustworthy, but also fosters a deeper respect. And guess what? That respect, it'll make her fall for you even more. Point 5. Being too available. The attraction of scarcity. One of the most attractive traits in a person is their sense of mystery. But if you're always available, texting, calling, or showing up at the drop of a hat, you remove that mystery. You're no longer someone she has to work to get to know. You become predictable, and predictability kills intrigue. Imagine you're always the one to initiate plans or send texts. You become the go-to person when she needs something or wants to talk. But what happens to your value when you're always there, ready to jump at a moment's notice? It starts to feel less like attraction and more like convenience. You've lost your sense of rarity. Scarcity is an ancient principle when it comes to human psychology. Think about it. We want what we can't easily have. When someone is constantly available, it's easy for them to be taken for granted. But when there's an element of uncertainty, when she has to wonder what you're up to or wait a little longer for your response, she starts to value you more. She's drawn to you because you're no longer predictable. You've got your own life, your own boundaries, and your own independence. Being available all the time isn't a sign of commitment or affection, it's a sign of neediness. Instead of being constantly accessible, show her that you have a full, rich life outside of the relationship. Don't drop everything to answer her call or text immediately. Let her chase you a little. Let her wonder what you're up to. This creates a healthy dynamic of attraction. When you create that scarcity, she'll start to see you as someone of value, someone who's in demand, and suddenly you become much more interesting. She'll start to put in the effort too, because she'll want to earn your time, your attention, and your presence. Point 6. Oversharing. Why keeping some things mysterious is key. In today's world, we're all about instant gratification and oversharing. It's easy to spill all the details of your life, your past, your emotions, and your dreams on the table when you're trying to build a connection. But here's a secret. Oversharing can actually work against you. When you give away too much too soon, you remove the sense of discovery, the exciting, playful part of a relationship that builds over time. Instead of being mysterious and intriguing, you become too predictable, too easy to understand. Women love the process of getting to know someone. They want to learn about you gradually, piece by piece. When you reveal everything about yourself in the first few conversations, you take away the fun. There's no build-up, no anticipation. Women thrive on the mystery, the little moments of surprise that unfold as the relationship deepens. Think of it like a good book. If someone told you the ending within the first chapter, would you keep reading? Probably not. It's the slow reveal of your character, your experiences, and your emotions that keeps her interested. The key is to keep some things close to your chest. Let her get to know you slowly, with time. While honesty is important, there's no need to overshare. You don't have to reveal every detail about your life right away. Keep certain aspects of yourself mysterious. Let her get curious. As you build the relationship, you'll find that revealing bits and pieces about yourself naturally creates a deeper connection. Point 7. The need for constant validation. Why it weakens you. One of the biggest traps men fall into when it comes to relationships is the constant need for validation. It might start off subtly, but before you know it, you're relying on your partner's approval to feel good about yourself. Whether it's seeking compliments, waiting for her to tell you how great you are, or constantly fishing for praise, this behavior can quickly become toxic. Here's why. Women are naturally drawn to men who are secure in themselves. When you constantly need validation, you send a message that you don't have that security. It's like walking into a room full of people and constantly asking, "Do you like me? Do you think I'm cool?" It's exhausting. At first, it might seem harmless, but over time it chips away at your confidence and her respect. The truth is, no one wants to be in a relationship where the other person constantly needs reassurance. Confidence doesn't come from external validation. It comes from within. Women want a man who believes in himself, who doesn't need constant praise to feel valued. If you're constantly seeking her approval, you're demonstrating that you lack internal strength. Confidence is magnetic because it gives women the security they need. They want someone who can handle his emotions, his life, and his decisions without constantly needing someone else to affirm his worth. When you're constantly looking for external validation, you're signaling to her that you're emotionally dependent. That's not attractive, because it places the responsibility for your happiness and self-worth squarely on her shoulders. No one wants that kind of emotional burden. The best way to break free from the need for constant validation is to start focusing on building your own self-worth. Take time to engage in activities that make you feel good about yourself, things that don't rely on anyone else's opinion. Whether it's focusing on your career, pursuing a hobby, getting fit, or developing your mind, find something that gives you confidence in who you are, regardless of how others see you. When you stop fishing for validation, you'll notice a shift in how people respond to you. You'll start to feel more powerful and independent. And that self-assurance is incredibly attractive. Instead of waiting for her approval, you'll simply show up as the best version of yourself, and she'll respect that. Point 8. You become someone to solve them, but because she needs someone to listen. It's in our nature to want to fix things, especially when we see someone to listen. But because she needs someone to listen, sometimes women don't want you to fix the problem. They just want to be heard. A woman will often share her thoughts or frustrations, not because she's looking for you to solve them, but because she needs someone to listen. But many men, out of habit or desire to help, jump straight into problem-solving mode. You might think you're being helpful by offering solutions, but what you're actually doing is invalidating her feelings. Instead of creating a space where she feels heard, you're pushing your solution, which can make her feel misunderstood or even frustrated. Women, especially in relationships, want to feel understood. When they open up about their feelings, whether it's something minor or a major life problem, they want you to empathize with their emotions. Jumping to fix the issue can feel like you're dismissing their feelings or implying that they're not capable of handling things themselves. This doesn't mean you shouldn't offer help when asked, but there's a time and place for everything. Women don't need a knight in shining armor every time they express an emotion. Sometimes they just need a sounding board, a shoulder to lean on, and a person who will listen without offering advice or solutions. The key to handling this is to shift from being the fixer to being the listener. When your partner shares something with you, resist the urge to immediately solve the problem. Instead, practice active listening. Ask questions that show you're engaged and that you care about her perspective. Acknowledge her feelings and show empathy. If she wants advice, she'll ask for it, but the best thing you can do in most situations is to just listen and validate her emotions. Let her know you understand her, and she'll feel much closer to you. This will deepen the emotional connection between you and create a stronger bond built on mutual respect. Point 9. Being overly agreeable. The power of saying no. Another mistake many men make in relationships is being overly agreeable. They say yes to everything, whether it's going to events they don't enjoy, helping with things that don't align with their priorities, or agreeing with everything she says just to keep the peace. But here's the problem. When you're always agreeable, you stop standing out. You blend into the background. Women are drawn to men who have opinions, who stand firm in their beliefs and values. If you're constantly saying yes just to avoid conflict, you're not being true to yourself. You're losing your individuality, and with it, your attractiveness. Strong men have strong opinions. They stand for something. They're not afraid to voice their thoughts or take a stand on issues they care about. When you say yes all the time, you come across as someone who doesn't have strong convictions, someone who's afraid of confrontation or rejection. Women respect men who can say no when necessary. This doesn't mean being rude or disagreeable for the sake of it. It means having the courage to express your preferences, to speak up when something doesn't sit right with you, and to assert your needs and boundaries. This is what creates respect in a relationship, and respect is at the core of attraction. Start practicing saying no when it's necessary. Don't be afraid to turn down plans that don't interest you, or to set boundaries when something doesn't align with your values. It's not about being selfish, it's about valuing yourself and your time. When you do this, you'll notice how much more respect you gain, and the attraction will naturally follow. Point 10. Not prioritizing your own life. Be the center of your own universe. Finally, one of the biggest mistakes men make is losing themselves in the relationship. When you become so focused on pleasing her, doing things for her, or making her happy, you risk losing sight of your own life, your goals, and your passions. You forget that before you were in a relationship, you were an individual with your own dreams and ambitions. When you make her the center of your universe, you lose your independence, and that's a major turnoff. Women don't want to be the sole focus of your existence. They want someone who has his own passions, his own pursuits, and his own direction. A man who is constantly seeking validation or trying to appease his partner becomes invisible in the long run. The most attractive men are those who are self-sufficient and independent. They have their own goals, their own social lives, and their own purpose. When you maintain your independence, you show her that you are not relying on her for your happiness. This makes you more valuable because you are not dependent on anyone to define your worth. You need to prioritize your own passions, hobbies, and goals. Keep building your career, developing your friendships, and pursuing your personal interests. When you do this, you remain interesting, dynamic, and independent. She will respect you for having your own life, and she will find you more attractive because of it. Now, after all the mistakes we've gone over, here's the ultimate truth. The key to attracting women isn't in doing more, it's in doing less. Doing less of the things that push women away and focusing more on developing your true self. The core of attraction lies in your confidence. Confidence isn't about arrogance, it's about knowing who you are and standing firm in it. When you embody self-assurance, you become magnetic. Women don't want someone who's chasing them for validation. They want someone who's chasing his own goals, his own dreams, and is emotionally secure. If you master this, you'll notice a profound shift in the way women perceive you. Confidence doesn't come from external validation. It comes from within. Now that you've heard these truths, let me break it down for you. The things men should never do with women are the behaviors that signal insecurity, desperation, and lack of control. It's about emotional stability, not seeking constant validation, maintaining your independence, and keeping your life interesting. When you stop chasing approval and start focusing on being the best version of yourself, everything changes. So, now it's time to take action. Start applying these insights in your life today. Remember, women are attracted to men who are emotionally steady, self-sufficient, and confident. If you found this video valuable, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on tips that will help you become the best version of yourself.